Hello, I'm Lee Rhodes. I am the Chief Science Officer for the Oklahoma Medical Marijuana Authority, and in that role, I oversee the laboratory and the testing program. I want to talk a little bit right now about the use of the seed to sale system, Metrc, and submitting samples to each of the laboratories for the testing requirements. In short, there's a fairly straightforward process for doing that. When you've created your final batch in its final form, from that batch, you create a lab sample within the seed to sale system and designate that submit for testing. And then you send that to the laboratory of your choice. The laboratory performs those tests, uploads the result into the seed to sale system, and those test results are therefore associated with the source package that you created your lab sample from. Now, we have seen situations arise where people's products will get slowed down or even a roadblock created and what we're calling locked up. There are a number of scenarios that are happening that hopefully I can give you a little bit of overview on how to avoid those. What we're seeing is that people will create derived packages from their source batch package, do testing on one of those derived packages, and then expect those test results to apply for everything else created from that source package. It will not work that way. The way to think about it is that the test results don't flow back upstream and they don't flow laterally. So they have to be, the test results are associated with the package from which you created your sample, and then anything created from that package downstream will have the testing associated with it. Another thing that we're seeing is people creating multiple lab samples from one batch, either sending to different laboratories or sending multiple samples to the same laboratory. Anytime you have multiple lab samples sent, the seed to sale system is going to expect results to be available for every lab sample package. And if they're not there, then that source package will be in what's called submitted for testing status. And unless the status of that source package says test passed, it will not be able to be moved within Metrc, either transferred or sold. So those are the two big things that I wanted to emphasize and encourage everybody to think through the process when you're creating your lab sample. Create it from the source package, get your testing results back, and then if you're going to create any derived packages, do it after the results for that source package are in Metrc and say test passed. That will be the most effective way to make sure that your products move through smoothly within the system. Okay, I'm just going to take a quick minute to show you what the steps within Metrc are for submitting a sample for testing from a source package. One caveat I want to bring to your attention: these would be the steps that you would follow if you're working directly in Metrc. If you're using your own inventory management system, these are the steps that you need to be sure your inventory management system follows within this particular order to assure seamless transfer and test requests from your facility to the testing laboratory, and then assuring that the results come back and are associated with the correct package. So I'm going to go through the process for some flower, Blue Dream, harvest ID number 121721. The package ends in 77. So that's this right here, grayed out. I'm going to click on that to highlight it. And go through the steps for submitting this for testing. Once I've highlighted this, if you look up here, there's a button that actually simply says Submit for Testing. Click on that. First thing I want to bring to your attention, here's the package that we're creating a sample from, ends in 77, which corresponds to this package number right here. So therefore you know that your lab sample is associated with this source package. We're going to select a new tag number for the lab sample package. I'm going to select the next one in line, click on it to highlight it, then click on Select. The location, you can either type it in or do a search. This is in the package vault. We're going to select that. And then the item name, you can type it in if you know it or search for it, but since we know this is a Blue Dream, we're going to select Blue Dream Flower. We're going to send 10 grams to the laboratory, and we're packaging this lab sample today. The required testing, since this is flower, we're going to select raw plant material. That's how Metrc knows what tests are required when the results come back. Okay, and the last thing we're going to do is put in how much that we're taking out of this package. That's this amount right here. And you'll notice it's highlighted that we're sampling, and this will be the new package amount that is still in the package vault associated with this source package. So it calculates up how much you've taken out and what the remainder is that you have on hand. Then once that is complete, click Submit for Testing. So we have now created the lab sample package, and you can see what Metrc has done to adjust for the package amount for source package 77. It is now 1,190 grams. That accounts for the 10 grams being sent to the laboratory, and it is in submitted for testing status. From this point forward, you would create your manifest to the laboratory, transmit that, send the lab sample to the laboratory. They will receive it. All of that will be tracked within Metrc so that you will know at any one point in time where that sample is. And then once the laboratory has performed its testing, we'll upload those results to that lab sample package number, which will in turn flow back to this package number. And assuming that the testing has passed, this will change from submitted for testing to test pass status, and you are now free to create any derived package from package 77, and the testing associated with 77 will flow to that package. Anything done not in that order is most likely going to end up with testing not associated with the package you wish it to be associated with. So that was a quick and simple way just to show you what the steps within Metrc are for creating a lab sample, how that lab sample is identified, sent to the laboratory, and then how those results will come back to the laboratory to your source package, and then what you can do with that source package once it's in test pass status. Thank you. I hope you found that helpful.